All right, this past Thursday, we had quite the ending to the Pittsburgh Cleveland Browns game with Myles Garrett slamming Mason Rudolph's helmet into Mason Rudolph's head. And I kind of wanted to wait a little bit before reacting to this just because while it would have been nice to get an initial reaction, this way you get to see the suspensions, get more information out. I know when the first thing that happened, there was a lot of speculation out about what Mason Rudolph did to set off Myles Garrett. I think the more and more we've gone away from that or gotten away from it, that speculation has completely gone to an end. The big things that come out of this is Myles Garrett was suspended indefinitely by the NFL. He's out at least this entire season and the postseason if the Cleveland Browns make it. And then he has to apply for reinstatement with the league after this season, which involves a face-to-face meeting with Roger Goodell. I think that's significant. I think a lot of people thought, after this situation was over, Garrett deserved to be suspended the entire season. If you look on Twitter, which isn't always the best gauge, but it seemed like a consensus. A lot of former players, a lot of former executives came out and said that too. So it'd be curious to see this offseason if he's reinstated, ready to go next year, or they hold him out even longer. If I had to guess, I think they will. Marquise Pouncey ended up getting 3 games for his role in it. If you remember, after Garrett swung the helmet and hit Rudolph, Pouncey tackled him, jumped on him, was kicking him in the head, punching him. You knew Pouncey was going to get suspended, so not a big surprise. 3 games. I'm not surprised by the 3-game aspect. If he would have got 1 game, I would have been too surprised. I think the 1 to 3 games, no one's going to really complain too much about. Larry Ogunjobi got 1 game. His role in this was after Mason Rudolph got hit, Rudolph just stood there and with, just staring at Garrett and Pouncey and them. And Ogunjobi came up from behind and just knocked Myles Garrett to the ground. I wouldn't say it's a cheap shot, but definitely not a good look. And especially a guy with his back to you, not doing anything, and you push him down. Kind of a little bit of a cheap move, but so he gets a game. One thing that kind of stood out was Mason Rudolph did not get suspended at all. He was fined. We don't know the dollar amount yet. I know that irritated a lot of people. I'm sure Cleveland Browns fans were upset that he didn't get suspended because he did have a big role in this game. I've seen a lot of people out there that think Mason Rudolph was the main instigator, and they deflected a lot of the blame from Myles Garrett on to Mason Rudolph. I don't quite get that, and he was at fault also. Garrett tackled him late and kind of held on to him. Rudolph didn't like that and started pushing on his helmet, trying to pull. If you want to say maybe he tried pulling it off, it's hard to kind of tell. It looked like he was just kind of pushing him in the helmet to get it off. Regardless, that set off Myles Garrett, and then it didn't help that Mason Rudolph got back up after his helmet was ripped off and got into Garrett's face. You don't blame him. I think a lot of us, if we were in a situation like that where someone did that to us, we'd probably get upset and want to go confront the person. So did that warrant Myles Garrett slamming a helmet into his head? No. But I think Mason Rudolph is to blame a little bit in this situation. I do have to say, man, I am surprised Mason Rudolph, he took that swing into the helmet. I know it looked like it hit him pretty clean, and he didn't even flinch, and he just, didn't knock him down, didn't cut it. It didn't even look like it cut him open. I think he benefited by hitting the bottom part of the helmet and not like the crown of the helmet or the top of the helmet, because I think that could have done a lot more damage. So Mason Rudolph is definitely lucky that he didn't get hurt at this point at all from it. And I think Myles Garrett is got to be truly thankful that it wasn't a worse situation, because I think if you would have hit him with the crown of that helmet or the top of the helmet, who knows what that could have done. I've seen some videos where people have slammed helmets like that into wood chairs, and it's split a thick wood chair in half. And so definitely not a good look for anybody. I think this is a situation that could have been avoided, but Myles Garrett, who already had a kind of a late borderline dirty hit, according to some, on on Trevor Siemian earlier this year. This is definitely going to stain his reputation for a while. I think he's a young player. He's a very talented player. He'll have a chance to, reclaim his image over time. But it's definitely something that's going to affect him in the future. So definitely avoidable. But I think it's something that could have been a lot worse.